Let's take our note sheet and turn it over and try some examples. Now, we've already used algebra. We've already used algebra in many ways without even knowing it. You've used it since first grade. Example 1. When using formulas, okay, like area, you're using algebra. For example, the area of a rectangle is the length times the width, or we say A equals L times W, where the A represents the area, L would represent the length, and the W represents the width. So these are all variables. We're going to focus in on the L and the W. The values of L and W change depending on the length and or the width of a given rectangle. We've all seen rectangles of different lengths and widths. So the length and width can change. That's why they're called variables. They can change. They vary. They're variables. Let's look at example 2. When you calculate prices, okay, when calculating prices per amount, let's take a look at bars, like maybe chocolate bars, right? If bars are $2, how much would you pay for 6 bars? Of course, you would take the $2 and you would multiply that by the 6. If you want to find out how much 3 bars cost, you would take the $2 and you would multiply that by 3. If you want to find out how much 8 bars cost, you would take the $2 and multiply that by 8. So the question is, what value is changing? What value changes in these statements? Well, the cost of the bars is always $2. But the number of bars is changing. So what value changes? It would be the number of bars. We can use algebraic expression to represent this. We can use an algebraic expression to represent this. And here's what we would write. We're going to use 2, because 2 is the $2. We don't need the decimal 00, the 0 cents. And then we're going to use a variable that represents the number that's changing, the bars. What would be a good variable for the number of bars? You can use N for number of bars. I'm going to use B. B for number of bars. When you put a variable next to a number, and there's nothing in between, it means to multiply. So in other words, B represents the number of bars in the problem. The last example we'll look at, example number 3, we're going to look at the expression 3 times D plus 4. 3D plus 4. What is the constant? Well, the constant is what stays the same all the time. So the number that stays the same, and the constant would be your 4, because we're always adding 4 here. How many terms are there? Well, here's a term, and here's a term. There are 2 terms, and they're being added together. What is the variable? Some expressions might have more than one. This one only has one variable, and it's the variable D. And what is the number coefficient? If you forget what a coefficient is, we have that on the front of our paper. Coefficient is a name given to the number in a term. That's the number that's being multiplied by the variable. So in this example, the coefficient would be the 3. Now take those examples and ideas and vocabulary and work on assignment, algebra worksheet number 1. Have fun.